time has come for my first ride. A grin on my face and a heart full of pride. Off I go, shredding and free, riding along on my Super 73. Riding along on my Super 73.
All right, today, so I've been posting some content around mid-drive motors. Posted a video about my mid-drive motor going up that steep hill in Los Angeles. It's brought up a lot of questions in people's minds, right? Which is better? What should I buy? So in this video, I'm gonna try to talk a little bit about the Super 73, who it's for, right? In terms of some of its strengths and weaknesses, and just kind of define like who I think the best person is to own a Super 73. And at the same time, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about, would I buy it again? Do I feel like it was a mistake? One point to make, when I did my recent hub versus mid-drive, some people were saying, you know, mid-drives are better typically, less maintenance, but you know, hub motors can still go up hills. They have 400 to 500 pounds of torque, blah, blah, blah. And that got me thinking, you know, the Super 73 as it stands, we all know, doesn't have a tremendous amount of torque. But one of my earlier videos, I showed from a dead stop, going up a pretty steep hill on the case and cabin, which is a hub motor, and it's only a 1,000 watt hub motor. And this one, the Super 73, is a 1,200 watt. So it gets me to believe that maybe it's just the settings that Super 73 has on this hub motor right now. Like it could go a lot higher in terms of the amount of torque it puts out, but they haven't really done that, you know? They haven't really set those settings yet. You guys seeing this thing, this freaking swan thing? Isn't that cool? Whatever that is, a white pelican thing. Anyway, so I feel like when Super 73 adjusts the torque settings in the firmware updates, I think this motor might be more like a Kaysen Cabot, where it can actually go up hills from a dead stop. So if that's the case, that would kind of balance the scales a little bit in terms of, you know, the torque capability of this hub motor, and get me to believe that therefore most hub motors have more torque than I think they do, right? I still think obviously the mid-drive is going to have more torque, but if this thing can go up a steep hill from a dead stop, even if it's not as fast or as aggressively as a mid-drive, then that would make it a lot more attractive, right? So I'm kind of pointing that out, right? I'm agreeing that maybe that is the case. We just need more torque in the firmware settings, and once that happens, we'll be better off, and this hub motor will be a lot more like other hub motors perhaps, which can go up hills a little more aggressively than I think, because I'm kind of basing a lot of my opinion on this bike. That being said, another thought is, if you buy this bike, if you bought this bike, you know, months ago, like a lot of us that have it now have, and we're on V3, V1, V2 motors, hub motors, we're all having to get them replaced. So if you buy the bike now, that really shouldn't be a problem, because by the time you get your bike, it'll be a V3 motor. And I'm assuming in the next month or two, hopefully, with the firmware updates, that'll correct that problem too. So I'm going to kind of talk about this bike in terms of who should buy it, in terms of if you bought it now, right? A lot of us early adopters, if you will, had to incur a lot of the issues with the early bikes. But if you buy it now, a lot of those problems are going to be corrected. So who should buy this bike? I think it's still, because it's not as aggressive off-road as a mid-drive, because it has more street than dirt tires, because it's got good shocks and all that. Yes, you can go off-road, but if you're like one of those mountain bikers who's, you know, going to be jumping and doing some aggressive off-roading, this is not for you. You should get like the Luna Enduro, which is a dual suspension mid-drive. It's got the integrated battery into the frame. It's very aggressive. You know, that's more of like what you should get if you're looking to do like really aggressive off-roading, right? But you know, or you know, like the 250 watt mid-drive, like Specialized or Trek, which doesn't have like tremendous throttle only, but you're really not buying it for that. You're buying it for aggressive off-roading and to have a little extra up those hills, you know. So that's like an off-road, you know, BMX type dual suspension mid-drive. But if you're looking to have, you know, just some fun throttle and pedal assist, not very aggressive off-road, just light off-roading, and you're just kind of enjoying the bike. You're not trying to like do time trials and all that stuff, and you're not jumping off huge jumps and all that. So this bike might be for you, you know. That being said, you know, there are some shortcomings on this bike. The pedal cranks are crap, the pedals are crap. You fall once or twice, you're gonna need to replace both of those. If you want to do anything a little bit more aggressive than just light off-roading, you probably need to get, you know, some dirt tires. For those that have been following my channel, I got the SUPER73 all-terrains, and then now I've got the Mongoose, you know, 20x4, you know, dirt tires. And they give you a lot more aggressive carving capabilities off-road, you know. The Badger tires on the new SUPER73s, the R, the RX, and the S2, they're fun, they're cool, but they're not as aggressive as you would probably need on an off-road like even this, you know. So I feel like SUPER73 is really for people that style is important. You're probably going to be doing 60% on-road, 40% off-road. When you're doing off-road, you're doing something like this, nice and easy little hills, you know, pretty tightly packed, not very loose gravel. This is pretty much what an ideal SUPER73 R Series or S2 off-road experience should be like, you know. And if you're a 20-something and you're looking to do something aggressive, riding with your friends, you know, jumping, carving, you know, doing more aggressive off-road, you know, steep hills, you know, it's got knots and roots, then this is not the bike for you. It's just not, you know. I mean, don't kid yourself. I think this is more of a early 30-something to like a 65-year-old bike. And I'm probably gonna get a bunch of people that are like, I'm 26 and I have it and you're not being nice. Okay, yeah, there's always exceptions. I'm just trying to talk about the typical or the ideal or the prototypical rider of a SUPER73 is probably not a kid, probably not an early 20-something, you know. It's like a Cadillac, you know. It's not a Jeep, and keep that in mind when you buy it. Would I buy it again? For those that follow my channel, I'm 48. I'm not very aggressive. I like doing trails like this, nice easy trails. This bike's perfect for that, you know. And it's got great suspension, the R and the RX. The S2 I tried out the other day at SUPER73, and I just don't think it has enough rear suspension. It doesn't have any rear suspension, and so the front only, it's just not enough for like this off-roading that I'm doing right now. Your butt hurts, you know. I saw somebody that said, you know, I have the S2 and I have to like lift up my butt get off the seat every time I go over a bump or a hill, and it's like, all right, if that's not, you know, if you can accept that your butt's gonna hurt a little bit on the S2, hey there, when you go over hills and bumps, then maybe the S2's for you. But if you like a nice cushion ride like I do, the R and the RX is for you on light trails. So there you have it. I mean, anybody can buy any bike they want. There's no rule or law against it. I'm just trying to point out who I think the bike is really for. I think it's really more for the non-aggressive rider who is just trying to have fun and cruise, you know. It's a cruiser. It's not a freaking aggressive off-road bike. And the fact that it doesn't have a mid-drive means even with the torque updates, we're still not going to have like aggressive off-road capability, you know. It's just not going to handle, you know, big off-road hills and all that stuff, you know. I watch a lot of BMX downhill on YouTube. A lot of guys that do like Whistler, you know, that famous hill, that famous course. You know, those guys, they're all about, you know, suspension when you're coming off of a huge jump. They're all about, you know, carving capabilities, shifting your weight. You know, this is not that. So don't think it is. Don't think you can just throw you know, some dirt tires on it and you've got an awesome off-road bike. This isn't that. You know, you're gonna screw shit up, you're gonna break shit. It's just not meant for that, you know. And it's like when you go off a jump on this thing, even a little jump or even a curb, you're like, you hear a clunk clunk. It's just not as durable as, you know, those BMX type mid drives. So if you're looking to just cruise and chillax, this is a chillaxing bike, you know. Then this is awesome. And compared to the Aerial Rider, which yes, I know it has dual hub motors, and the Kaysen and the Juiced Hyper Scrambler, you know, they typically don't have the 1200 watt rear hub motor. You know, they all have hub motors, but it's not the 1200 watt, you know. So anyway, I think this bike with the firmware updates, with a V3 motor, accepting that you're probably gonna have to get a little more aggressive tires if you want to do any trail riding, because the Badgers probably won't serve you well enough, and the fact that you're probably gonna have to get new pedals and new pedal cranks. If you can accept all that, this bike's for you. And would I buy it again? Yeah, I would. Because for me, at this stage in my life, it's exactly what I need. I just like these kinds of trails all day long. Whenever I see big hills and big bumps and roots sticking up and all that, I'm like, I'm turned off. So anyway, hope that helps. Just trying to give you a little sense of who I think this is really for. So anyway, gonna do a little more shredding here. And for those of you that haven't subscribed, I would really ask that you do. I average about 300 viewers per video, and I put out a lot of videos. I put a lot of time into them, and 86% of my viewers are not subscribed. And I know that a lot of you are, you know, commenting over and over, and a lot of you probably haven't subscribed. So, you know, if I'm taking the time to do this, please just subscribe. It helps me a lot. I'm trying to get monetized one day. So anyway, that, and if you just throw a like, I mean, what does it take, like half a second? So if you could do that for me, I would be grateful. I want to continue to put out good content. I love all the feedback. Sometimes I get negative feedback and I just think it's kind of comical. Like on that last video I did, the hub versus mid-drive, I called the title of it Hub versus Mid-Drive Debate, and I got 2 or 3 people that are like, how can it be a debate when the YouTuber is choosing obviously the mid-drive? Well, if you think about it, debates they present both sides, which I did, and then they have a clear winner at the end, which I chose. So, you know, it's just funny when people do that, and then some people cuss at me and, you know, you're the worst driver, and, you know, you're like, you shouldn't be going on sidewalks, and you're an asshole. It's like, you know what, dude? Just blow it out your ass. You know what I mean? I'm just calling a spade a spade. Like, just don't ever come back to my channel. Like, you're banned, you're not welcome, you know? So I'm just trying to have a good time. I know most of my viewers are, and I'm just trying to like throw some fun, you know, comical commentary out there for you. You got some hate, just don't come to my channel, just leave. You know, it strikes me as really amazing that people would spend, you know, 30-45 seconds to write like a 50 to 75 word, maybe even 2 minutes, 50 to 75 word hateful comment. You know what? It's like, you know what, I hate to say it, but just fuck off. You know, I hate saying that word, but that's what I mean. I really mean that. Just go fuck yourself, okay? So anyway, to the rest of you, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your feedback, your support, and let's just have a good day, people. Anyway, that's off. I'm off my soapbox. A little more shredding for you here. Another thing I decided, because I keep getting all these flat tires, is I've got double tire liners in my rear tire. I changed it myself. I don't need to freaking go to a bike shop to change my rear tire. It's really not that hard. There's a video on YouTube or 2 of somebody changing one on an S2. If you have an R or an RX, it's the exact same, you know, scenario. So just watch it, just change it yourself. I'm so not mechanically inclined, and I did it myself. And just take pictures of what you're doing beforehand so you can put it back the same way, and you'll figure it out, you know? So you don't have to go to a freaking bike shop to change your tires. You don't have to go to a bike shop to change your pedals. You don't have to go to a bike shop to change your tires. You can do all that shit yourself. Change your tubes, you know? Anyway, so I'm gonna put double tire liners in my front tire as well, and hopefully I'm gonna be good. and I'm just praying that that's all I need to do. And I'm gonna really do my best to stay away from questionable terrain where I see, you know, bark is not your friend, you know, like that mulch, things that look like they're not really trails, or trails that have never been, you know, ridden before. There's like really no defined trail. Don't do that. Where there's a lot of sticks and branches, don't do that. So again, for those that have this bike or want to get this bike, you gotta be real careful what you do. Otherwise you're gonna get a flat tire, and you don't want flats because you can't change it on the fly. You need all kinds of wrenches and zip ties and wire cutters, and it's just not something you can do on the fly. It just would never happen. You literally have to stop, turn your bike over, or put it in some sort of stand, and have Allen wrenches and all these other tools, and spend 15, 20, 25 minutes to do it. So you don't want to get flat. Anyhow, I think that's going to do it for this ride. I'm going to call it. Hope you enjoyed. Hope I helped you out a little bit. Anyway, God bless. Peace out.